Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Africa Day 2021. We are delighted to have all of you participants here with one spirit of discussing the African inspiration, as it is our theme today, Inspiring Africa. We would like to let you know or remind you that please mute your microphones, and this event will be recorded. In case of any privacies, we will request or require you to utilize only your first name, and if it happens that you have commented something that you wouldn't like it to come at the recording or when we publish in the public social media, please let us know after this event, and we will edit this conference and make sure that only permitted materials will be shown out for the people. It's the first time that Inspire is organizing this event, and so our speakers are going to be from the field of academia, but also a business. The idea is to accomplish the aspect of the triple helix collaboration in the inspirations of Africa of the future. So the collaboration between academia, industry, as well as the government. We're delighted to have all of you here, and we're expecting that we will all be very interactive. But please remember, discipline and respect towards each others is very important, and this is an inspired, one ethical group in all of the meetings. So please remember, each comment is valid, and its validity based on who is giving the comment. We welcome you to 2022 Inspire Africa Day as well. We wish you all the best for this day.
My name is Conrad, so for those who didn't know me, I am the one who organized it on behalf of my own initiative, Inspire Network, and also in cooperation with the keynote presenters of this afternoon. I think we are all from Europe at the moment, so we can call this afternoon still. And for later on, I think we have people from the Americas, both will be known to them. The reason why I decided to organize an Africa Day this week, it's because of the theme of my own company, and also as an African diaspora, I think it's important to give back to my community in some way, especially once you're already living abroad. And I feel like these type of events display a message of inspiration, empowerment, and possibilities is one of the things that I can do very well. And today we are starting. This is the first one, so we are going to have another Africa Day 2022. I would like to recognize people who are here today. A few of them have already arrived, but we are expecting there will be more as we go on. First of all the representatives of the African nations that you are coming from. We should have here the representative from the Embassy of Tanzania today, the representative from the Embassy of Morocco. We should have the representative from the Embassy of Ethiopia, representative from the Embassy of Namibia, Kenya, Uganda, and Mozambique, as well as Mauritius. So I would like to welcome all of you dearly, and please feel free to comment and share the experiences and good message of your countries as well. I think this is a great possibility. Thank you. And also, we should know that personally, I am an enthusiast of education and regional development, as well as innovation. These are the topics that we have done. And for this reason, this afternoon, we are going to have presenters who are actually coming from academia as well as industry, with an idea of sharing the actual potential collaboration between industry, academy, and government for Tanzania and also for other African countries. For example, we have the Tanzania Chamber of Commerce representative here. And this is the best way to go forward, because the better we make our education systems and collaboration, the better our nations are going to be in the future as well. I would also like to thank already now our presenters, our keynote speakers, Dr. Wegemann from Africa Institute of University of Applied Sciences, as well as Martina, Vanessa Miller, sorry. Also from the Tanzania Chamber of Commerce, Ireland, and the EU, I would like to also thank very much the CEO of the unit, Mrs. Edna Chu-Dugan, for being here, and the presenters, Mr. Moro and also Mr. Venenas, who are going to give us the continental insights based on what is going to happen in the future, or what they have realized as the potential of this continent through their activities. We are also here with a few people who will give us some entertainment numbers. We hope it's going to work well to get our 3 hours comfortable. So welcome all of you. For PhD students in Mozambique and diasporas in Sweden or from Sweden in different institutions, as well as those from the Caribbean islands, we are very happy to have all of you here this afternoon. So without further ado, I think we could go directly to our program where we are going to hear the keynote insights. You might wonder, why is a keynote insight this time and not a speech? It's because I think we are not discussing policy this time. We are discussing experiences and possibilities. So it's nice to share what is possible with those people who are doing it, and also what could be actually possible with the people who are pushing the wheel to get the things to be done for our continent and of course for the world, because this is all about collaboration. So I would like to welcome Dr. Wegemann as our first presenter from our own University of Applied Sciences, together with Ms. Vanessa Miller, who are going to give us the insights of their activities, collaborations, and also what do they see the future of Africa-Europe collaboration looks like, based on what we have done so far. So please welcome Vanessa and Dr.
Hello, welcome everyone. Can you hear me properly? Can I get your feedback, Conrad?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Thank you.
So I would first of all like to introduce our institute. It's the Africa Institute of Neu-Ulm University of Applied Sciences, a small university in Germany, Bavaria. Neu-Ulm is a town close to Ulm. It's located between Stuttgart and Munich, just to give you a picture of where we are. And then I will hand over to Professor Bernard Wagemann, who will tell you more about what we are doing and why we like to work with African partner institutions as a small university in Germany. So what is our Africa Institute about, and how come that a small university in Germany has an institute dedicated to working together with African partners? It all started in 2005 with a very enthusiastic professor, Professor Burg, who is from our Faculty of Healthcare Management. So we have a lot of competencies in the management of healthcare institutions. And then he started with projects working with African doctors and healthcare professionals to teach them management skills. And this even developed into a joint master's degree in health information management with universities together in South Africa, Tanzania, and Kenya. And then he inspired many other professors who also like to work with African partner universities, and our competencies broadened, not only healthcare management, but now we are very engaged in applied entrepreneurship, logistics, renewable energies, and technology transfer. And all these activities are bundled in this institute. So we do research, teaching, learning activities, we have guest lectureships and guest students, and it's all integrated in the Africa Institute. This is just to give you a small impression of what we have done in the set fields of healthcare management, transformation management, and commercialization of research, which is also very important, entrepreneurship, logistics, and resource management. So you can see, for example, here's a guest professor and guest students. You can also see participants of a workshop that we have hosted in Neu-Ulm. And maybe one interesting concept is this University of Applied Sciences, because most of our partners in Africa are very large research universities, and for them this concept of Universities of Applied Sciences is very interesting. So we hosted some workshops about what it is about to integrate industry into your teaching, or to do problem-oriented teaching and all that. And because this experience is also very interesting for German organizations and companies, we also like to do events that integrate companies. For example, we hosted 2 Africa Days for Enterprises. In 2020, we had an on-site event on frugal innovations, and in 2021, we had an online event on market access to East Africa. So we see our university as kind of doing the link between African partners and also German partners. Here you can see a map of where we have contacts in Africa. So it's mostly South Africa and East Africa, but we also have a very dear partner now in Senegal. Yes, here you can read more. And now I will hand over to Professor Bernard, who will tell you more about the details of some of the projects that we have run.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. A special hello to all guests of honor. Yes, I thank Konrad to be invited to this event, and he also asked me to start in giving a short impression about why we are working intensively in subjects about Africa. In my view, the partnership between Africa and Europe is of very high importance, already for 3 reasons. To improve the development and the speed of development in Africa, and to manage the problems of migration, which could be difficult for Europe to be managed. And third of all, to have a partnership with Africa to overcome the rising dominance of China in Asia and also in Africa. But this just in short. Maybe we will have more time to speak about that later on in the panel discussion. And let me now start with some of my slides. Yes, you see here already. I'm going to introduce you to 3 of our projects, and especially to the targets which we had there. Even nur wenn ich klopfe. Yeah, okay, so next slide, please. And you see here the key targets I want to touch. Yeah? Entrepreneurship, necessarily combined with capacity building. And second, decentral electrification, which is practically connected to university-industry partnerships because of the technical aspects and the implementation issues. Okay, now let's start with the first example. Sorry about my voice. You see here, you might recognize the flag. It's the flag of Ethiopia, and the project was on entrepreneurship for 4 years, and it has been finished in 2016. Yes, next one. You see here the entrance of the Abar-Minch University of a not so big town in South Ethiopia, in a very nice area. And what we did there was a 4 years program on entrepreneurship. Included were especially trainees from faculties of electrotechnique and mechatronic. You see here the university staff, most of them were docents from the university. And you see here on the right hand, what was in the center of their thinking. Already in many African rural areas, there is electricity not to be taken for granted. So they thought about a lot of business ideas which can be implemented and can be established when electricity is available in a mobile way for marketplaces, for villages, etc. We will see details later on. So they started with the idea of such a solar wagon. You see here the wheels, yeah? And you see here the box and the solar panel. But I show you another version here. This is an industrialized version. And you see here again, in perfect form, the top with the solar panel and 4 other solar panels which can be folded up and down. Okay, looks very smart, but it has 2 mistakes for use as the team wanted it. It has no storage space here in the box because it has big batteries. And the wheels, you see here the wheels on the right-hand side of the box. These wheels are too small to be used for transport following a bike or a bicycle. Okay, so they started to develop their own solar boxes, and you see here what they did. Starting the frame with the wheels and finalizing the frame with here wooden plates to have it stable enough. Next one. You see here now what the outcome is when the solar plates are folded up. And if you look very precise here, you see that this is a lady, hairdresser, doing the hairdo of a woman which is sitting here. Können die meinen Pfeil sehen? Yeah, you see here the woman, and here the little gadget which is curling the hair. Yeah. So you see with these 5 solar plates, you have quite enough of energy for simple things which can be done even for mobile disco or mobile cinema at a village place, and a lot of ice cream refrigerators on the marketplace, etc. Next one. Yeah, you see here once again the hairdresser doing his job, and I wanted to show you this one because you see here the important storage space, which is important for all the equipment you might need for doing your job as hairdresser, for having a chair with you, a clap chair, for the projector of the cinema, the music machines, etc. Yeah, and the loudspeakers, all you need for your job. And then you see here the wheels. So this can be put next to a bike, a motorbike or a bicycle, and it's easy then to transport, at least when you have a road which is not too rough. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, here an example, you see here better the wheels, yeah, and you see here all the plugs. So this could be a version for business-to-business activity, selling energy on the marketplace to other market stalls which need energy, for example, a hair cutter when after 6 o'clock it's not, it's too dark, or somebody selling other stuff. Yeah. Doesn't matter. There are so many ideas which you see here also on the right part of the slide. Yeah? Selling ice creams or cold drinks on a hot day can be marvelous little business. Or even photography with instant printouts if you go to a wedding. There's a little village. A lot of people might like to buy a photo when they get it printed out with the bride, together with the bride, for example, immediately. But there are also interesting business-to-business activities. Yeah? You can produce these solar wagons and sell them to other businessmen who wants to do business-to-company activity. Yeah? So if you would have more time, I could give you a long list of possibilities, but because of time restriction, I have to go on. Yeah, now we come to the evaluation of the result of the project. Yeah, we saw just some slices, but altogether it went over 4 years. And speaking about the direct impact, we can say it was a success. New jobs and businesses came out of that project. And after another year, we assessed again whether they were still existing, and that was the case. But nevertheless, the sustainability of the program was not a success. The university had originally, or the faculty had promised that the program would be continued. But after the project, the trained staff members had to go back to their faculties, and there they lost the contact to each other, and they had other jobs to do, and so they got no incentives to do trainings like they had been received to young entrepreneurs. And what we can derive is you need, as you can see here, you need an organizational consequence. You need a program for continuation which is clearly defined, which also has to be agreed by, in that way, by the university or the faculty. And it needs an organizational framework, either to have such a continuation of the program integrated in one of the already existing departments, or to have a new department concentrating on that. What important is that it has a head leading the department, a qualified team, and a clear task, and that the results are honored also in the necessary salaries they get, and not being done after evenings hours. Okay, I hope you understood what I mean. Yes, the external framework has to be cut out very clear, otherwise it drops again as if nothing would have been done before. Okay. Yes, there has to be a business plan prior to the program that ensures the continuation. Yes, that's right. Unfortunately, in the beginning, very often, the head of a university or faculty is not already willing to agree to a certain program because he wants to see the outcome of the project, and then it's deleted to a certain extent, and then it depends on where the faculty, the head of the faculty sees his priorities, whether he sees that in the implementation of an entrepreneurship program or whether he sees this in doing his research as before. And in many cases we experience that especially the African universities are very research oriented, and less practical oriented, as Vanessa has explained before. And then, of course, they take their merits out of their publications and not of the number of young entrepreneurs they had to become successful businessmen. Okay, we can have time to discuss that later. You see here the next program on entrepreneurship, and especially on capacity building. Yes, I underlined this because we had learned out of that project before that it is more important to teach teachers which already are ready to take over the learned stuff, to continue to transfer this to other team members and to other students which come up with business suggestions. And we did that here at the Kenyatta University, a quite big, large, big university, quite posh university with a lot of nice buildings on an incredibly large area. And if you see here on the left, you see directly after the entrance a building. Go to the next slide, please. Which is the Shandaria Business Innovation and Incubation Center. A long title, but it really does good work. In the meantime, the title even has become longer because they are now also in charge of university-industry relations. Yeah? So the advantage here was that they have already a working organization to concentrate on entrepreneurship and on innovation and incubation, and that by this, the sustainability was much easier to reach. The situation there was that the center was big enough for quite a lot of entrepreneurs, but not enough people came from the faculties, students being interested and having really good business suggestions. So what was needed to get the faculty closer connected to that innovation center, to know what they are doing and how they are working and what they teach, so that faculty members become interested in motivating students and coach them with a business idea. Because usually the business ideas come from the technical side, and the commercial side is just that which has to be added to function. But the idea is mostly a technical one. And so what we did then, next slide please. You see here the photo of one of the trainings. You see from the age, these are not students, these are members from the faculties. And you see on top here, the 3 steps we did. Yeah? We educated, we trained people from the center. Yeah? The center docents, they were familiar with a lot of subjects, but there were some subjects which they wanted to be introduced by us. This were especially the subjects which you see here: entrepreneurial mindset, very psychological, how to teach students the way businessmen think, how they behave, how they communicate, how they motivate others, workers and possible customers. And next to this, innovation about design thinking, about lean startup, and of course marketing, because this is a subject which is not the typical way of thinking to engineers or people coming from the chemistry faculty. Yeah, usually they prefer to stay in an office and to work on their idea, and not to go in the marketplace and to see what there's sold and what customers think about their prototype. Next one. Now we make a big jump Oh, no, I have to go back again. Sorry. Yeah, very important. So we had 3 steps: the center people, faculty, docents, and the students, in a quite stepwise but also parallel approach. The third step, also important, to gain our experience of us from New Ulm, how our ideas work and how the students get along with that. Yeah? Because the docents from the center, they knew, had experienced the students, but we did not have about these things, because at New Ulm we didn't have an entrepreneurship center. We were just planning to start one. So we could gather also important experience for us. So it was a kind of win-win situation for the university in Kenya and for us as well. Now we jump and see some of the results. As you see here, one example, an energy optimized rice cooker, burning pellets. We don't have the time to go through the details here, but with a little ventilator working the correct speed as necessary and adapting to the process of pellet burnings, you can save a lot of energy. And they also had built up a prototype, and it was done here with 3 young men, 3 young persons, 2 young women and 1 man. And you see a disciplinary team, one of the management side, business administration, an engineer, and the founder. I don't remember exactly which faculty she came from. Yeah. Now let's jump to the next example. You may laugh at first. It's about a loo we see in a mobile kind, resort for sick people or disabled people, and also for use in flats where there is no WC. Yeah? They came up with the idea because they knew that also near to towns, this cannot in all flats be taken for granted. And especially when a person is not able to go far enough, maybe toilet a little bit further away. And they also had a good manufactured prototype. And now we see what we did with all these prototypes on the next slide. Because with the concepts and the prototypes, we always went to the autumn industry conference, which takes place in each of the years in November. You see, this one is the first. In the meantime, it has become much bigger. And who is going to come there? People from the Chamber of Commerce, of course, from banks, business scouts, people from companies who checked whether they could use some of the ideas to participate in funding that company, etc. Yeah, so that was a place where we always needed the concept and the prototype, which usually was established after half a year. Yeah? It always ran by a call to come up with ideas. Then the most promising concepts were taken. Then about 30 of them, pupils, students, were allowed to the half-a-year training at the center. And then this was the industry event. And then there's still the next half year to use the space of the center and also a certain amount of money from the center to finalize their business preparation to come up with a startup. Okay, now let's look on the results. I think the direct impact was really fantastic. Let's say about 80 startups could be established, and we hope they're still functioning. Of course, we don't have the means to make a follow-up to see how they are going on with their business, but at least they started, and they have also coaches from the university if they have problems. And speaking about the sustainability, this was given because so many docents had been trained, not only from the center got additional motivated staff from the faculties being trained in the commercial subjects and issues, and who also worked then as motivator in the lecture at the faculties. Next one, please. And what I want to point out, important was the snowball effect. Yeah? By going through these steps here, we could reach a quite bigger amount of people to profit from the trainings. And especially here, last not least, it was, as I already mentioned, a win-win aspect for the university there and for us as well. So this is really one of our favorite projects. Okay, now the next one is example. We have a speed here, a lot to do. Project number 3. It's about optimization of decentralized village electrification. Yes, I'm happy that we have Agnes, I see her name, just a Christian name here, from Tanzania. And let's look what we did and where we did it, because this is not at the university. It's far in the northeast. You see here on the map with the white arrow, settlement called Sumkwe. Not very big, but nevertheless important, because it's a kind of center for many settlements around. And it's about 280 kilometers away from the next bigger town, which is called Grootfontein. Yeah. And go on. Yes, please. You see here what I mean when I spoke about decentralized electrification. Decentralized electrification can be very small, like a solar home system, and it can be bigger, like having a kind of power plant, a small autonomous one, to supply a village or the center of a village with electricity. You see here the performance for those who are interested in the technical aspects. And what is important for us is that the household get a subsidized tariff, and the business and the public services, they have to pay double the price, which is of importance, of course, to cover the costs of the mini-grid. Okay, please. Here you see all the long rows of solar panels, yeah, altogether about 12 of the same size and some smaller as well. You see that they are really long, but it's just enough to have the power for that settlement for the houses in a circle of about 500 meters, not for more energy. And even at night, also additionally, diesel aggregate has to be used. You see here the power storage, yeah? So that for a certain time, also in the dawn and when the sun is setting, the diesel aggregate does not need to be used, but later at night it has to be used, or you have to increase the solar panels and the batteries. So it's always a cost balance which has to be examined. Here You see the team who made that site visit and then started with closer examinations. You see here 3 German universities and a German company, ABC Solar. Yeah? And we will speak about the importance of having a company with us later on. And you see here our partners from Namibia. Yeah? The public Namibia Energy Institute, which has a site here at the Windhoek University of Science and Technology. And you have here the CINRED, Central North Regional Electricity Distributor, which is a really good concept because it's organized like a private firm, so it really can manage like a company is managed. But it is owned by communities, so it is a mixture of a public-private form of entity. Now let's go on. You see here some kind of the village and the area. You see there are only very scattered houses. With scattered, I mean in far distance from each other. Maybe because they were working in farming around the houses, so the houses were not nearby, what makes it even more costly to have the lines there and to get the electricity there without a big power loss. You see here a hut maybe for animals, a small hut, don't know about the use, a bigger one, some house here and there or further away, but the area doesn't look very rich, and of course there are not very much jobs to do. Continue. Yeah, you see here, you see cattle there, mostly either sheep, goats, or cows. But if you have a look here on the ground, nobody would like to do farming there. They rarely find a little bit of grass. And some people told that it hasn't rained for about 3 years, just a little bit sometimes. And you see it here again, the earth is completely dry. And what you see on the ground in most cases are these algae, which have importance I'm going to mention a little bit later. Go on. Yeah. Now, you saw it's a poor kind of settlement. Many people just live from small jobs, small shops, or from working in some of the administration, where they, of course, have a better salary. And but nevertheless, it is important because you see next to 700 residents, it's about, according to the internet, 8,800 people living in the constituency, the district, the far districts around that settlement. And you also can see this, the number of pupils in relation to the residents is quite a big number. So you know that a lot of pupils do not come from the settlement itself, but from the area around of it. Yes, just have a short look here. Broadcasting, hospital, post, police, 25 policemen, petrol station, gas supply, shops, bakery, tourist lounge, branch office of ministry, important for the further development, because the government doesn't want to have these people all leaving there, going to towns, and maybe having then even larger problems without any jobs than before. Okay, now let's speak about the impact. The impact, I gave it 3 stars out of 5. There was an impact, but the project is still running and the impact may be increased. The impact is mainly on the technical side to improve the efficiency of the mini-grid. Yeah? a better service to clean the solar panels. You know, when the bosses are 300 kilometers away, the 1 or 2 men who watch after the solar panels maybe not doing the best job every day. And the dust, of course, reduces the volume of power coming out. But out of the industry relation, there was a great profit because they could teach the stuff from the energy distribution company. They usually are in charge of bigger energy stations, so they didn't know very much about photovoltaic and mini-grids. And our ABC Solar, they could give these people who were in charge for the mini-grids a very good training. And so this was a good impact for the further sustainability. But the biggest problem here is the financial sustainability, because the sales of the mini-grid are just large enough to cover the costs. Yeah? The sales are not big enough, the money coming in, to have any reserves for replacement parts, for new solar panels or new batteries when needed. So in that case, either the government would have to give money again, or the mini-grid would more and more collapse. So what is the problem? The problem is that not enough little shops and people doing business there are available. You might remember that the business pay more, double the tariff. So if we would have more businesses, the mini-grid would get more money from these shops. You see here this gates, which you see everywhere. We were much in favor of using this as the raw material for aloe vera. Yes, it could be cut, at least not all, but selected of them, and be brought to Sumke by farmers in the outskirts settlements. And there could be pressed and cleaned, and the liquid brought to Windhoek, where there is an aloe vera company already existing, which could be increased. But the problem is, when we continue, please, here, number 2, there is no problem which would interlock now the electricity program with the startup program for village people. So one of the consequences is to really be successful in village development, you do not need just electricity. At the same time, it should also be start-up coaching and supporting program available. Otherwise, the sustainability of a mini-grid is always in danger, at least as long as the tariffs are not cost covering, but the government wants, of course, the tariffs to be cost covering, be social. Otherwise, the people could not pay the high price and would not understand why the electricity is so much more costly than within the towns. So I come here to the end. Yes, I thank you very much. I hope I didn't speak too long. I lost a little bit of time control. If you like to contact us, you see here my email address. And now I give back the microphone to Konrad. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Weickelmann. I don't know if you can hear me well right now, because it was a little bit problematic in the beginning. I'm very sorry for that. Right. We were supposed to have an entertainment, but our artist has some troubles to join in, but maybe it would be wiser to continue with Mrs. Hogan. Meanwhile, I have noticed already some comments regarding your presentation, Dr. Weickelmann. Maybe we can discuss those during the panel discussion as well, if that is all right. but it was a very insightful and eye-opening presentation, and especially with this university, industry, cooperation, and sustainability aspects all together. This is what we have to figure out how we could maintain that for the future. But now I'll give the floor to Edna, if you are able to speak, and I can share your logo onto your screen.
Thank you so much, Conrad. That was fantastic, Bernard. That was really good. I don't have a formal presentation, but I have my pointers. I hope it's okay. So thank you so much again for inviting me, Conrad, to speak. So as you said, my name is Mrs. Edna Liatu-Hogan. I'm the CEO of the Tanzania Chamber of Commerce in Europe. We are headquartered in Dublin, Republic of Ireland. So today I am supposed to talk about opportunities in Tanzania. But before I go to that, let me just tell you a little bit of what we do. So basically, we are a one-stop hub of knowledge for Tanzania, and of course, some other countries in Africa that we work with. So our job is to promote, facilitate, and also, of course, bring investment. And we work in different business sectors, and we have clients mainly from Europe, but also from other parts of the world. So that's really primarily the goal we established to enhance the link between Ireland and Tanzania, but of course now we are across Europe and of course other parts of the world. So that's why we're here. Before I can go on to talk about, let's say, opportunities in Tanzania, I would like to say, why should one choose Tanzania over other countries? You know, why would one choose to invest in Tanzania over other countries in Africa? I guess Tanzania is one of the safest countries in Africa. So we have, number one, peace and political stability. We're very lucky in that area. And also good governance, which is very, very important when it comes to someone choosing where to invest their money. And also economic growth. In the past 10 years, Tanzania has gained about 7% of growth in terms of economy. So that's a sign that the country is growing economically. It's very peaceful and hence very attractive to investors. Another thing as well, you could say we've never had civil wars like other countries in Africa. So that makes us very, very stable, which is a very attractive element to investors. So those will be the why should one choose Tanzania to invest over other countries in Africa. Now, let me just go now to what investors are looking for when they come to us, when they approach the chamber. What areas are they interested mainly? They're interested in so many other areas, but mainly it will be blue economy, agri, ICT, renewable energy, and so forth. So many areas we get queries daily why they would like to go to Tanzania, if it's Tanzania or other African countries. Now, opportunities in Tanzania. Tanzania is a very blessed country. So I'm going to touch on a few of them. There are so many of them, but I'm going to touch on a few of them. Let's start, let's say, with the agriculture, agribusiness. Tanzania is very fertile land. So it has close to 60 million of hectares of land that is suitable for agriculture. And also we have about, let's say, 29 of it can actually, is suitable for irrigation. So when it comes to agriculture, that's where so we have plenty of opportunities to invest in that sector because the land is actually suitable for that. And also that's very attractive. So when we move to, let's say, fisheries, Tanzania is blessed with abundance of, number one, we have Indian Ocean. Not only that, but also we have inbound, inland water bodies. So this can be minor and major. So lakes, rivers, ponds, you name it. So we have, for example, we have Lake Tanganyika, Lake Victoria, Lake Nyasa, Indian Ocean. All this make it very attractive in terms of fisheries, investing in blue economy. In fact, we have a business delegation going to Tanzania this June to invest in that sector as well. So that's very attractive. Let's move to, let's say, gas and oil. There've been a lot of discoveries of lately, and this makes it very attractive. At the moment, we have about 22 oil companies that are exploring, doing gas and oil exploration in Tanzania. So again, this is fantastic. So we have major big global companies that are in Tanzania in that sector. So that makes us like almost like a regional hub for East African region in terms of gas and oil. So that's again another area where someone can actually look at and maybe invest. When it comes to real estate, Tanzania is growing. The population is growing. We're getting, locally and also from, international visitors. And so there's a big area there where someone can invest. So Dar es Salaam, for example, Mwanza and Arusha and other big cities, they're cosmopolitan. The population is growing. We need properties. We need for residential and for commercial. So maybe another option, maybe foreign companies can do is maybe to partner with the HNU, National Housing Corporation or Tanzania Properties Agency. Those two, if you partner with them, maybe you can come up with a solution to provide for residential and commercial, properties. That's another area that we need investment as well. So in terms of mining, as you all know, Tanzanite, for example, it's only found in Tanzania. We have diamonds, we have gold, and there's actually the government can give you good support in terms of how you can go about investing or buying the minerals from Tanzania. So it's very important to follow the right route in this case because there are so many scammers when it comes to minerals. So if you're very interested, just get in touch. We can connect you with the government people and they can support you with the Minister of Mining and the official there who they can support you on how you can go about purchasing the minerals in Tanzania or maybe investing in that sector as well. So we have so many sectors. We have like broadcasting, we have telecommunications, and the list goes. But so Tanzania in general is really, really good. It has so much to offer. It's one of the safest countries in Africa. And we have so many sectors where actually we have so much to offer to foreign investment. So if you're interested to invest in Tanzania, you can just get in touch. The contact details have been shared by our staff there in the chat area, and then we can support you by connecting you because our job is to facilitate, to connect it, to make sure you have a very memorable experience investing and do business with Tanzania. Now, let me just give you real examples. For example, in terms of agribusiness, as I said, Tanzania is very arable land. We grow, pretty much everything grows in Tanzania. At the moment, we're importing a lot from Tanzania and other countries in Africa as well. It's not a surprise if you go to a supermarket here, for example, and find Hass avocado from Tanzania, or cashew nut, or mangoes, or even okra. So we import all those from Tanzania. So it just shows that the market is growing. And on a daily basis, we're getting requests from buyers asking us to connect them with farmers or suppliers for particular products. Every day, we're getting new requests, which is fantastic. So I think in terms of investing in the agri sector, there's a big room for investment there. In terms of, let's say for livestock, again, we have a big land for livestock breeds, and also we have a land that for cows and everything, and for vegetation and grass. We have enough land that can provide for that. But also we need value addition in terms of leather. For example, Tanzania, I think, is number 3 in Africa for producing skin. So we need investment in terms of how we can actually turn those skin into, let's say, maybe aprons or belts or shoes. We need investment. So value addition is very key. Also in terms of pharmaceuticals as well. As you know, Tanzania is part of the SADC, member of SADC. There's a big population of over 200 million people. We need big companies that can meet the market in terms of pharmaceuticals. So that's another sector that we can. In terms of minerals, we don't like to export raw minerals. We want the minerals to be processed in Tanzania. I know there's so much effort that has already been done by the current government, but more can be done as well to make sure we're getting enough value for our minerals, because if we can process it internally, that means we can provide employment as well to our people. So that's what we are looking forward to. So if you are that person, again, if you are into mining, Tanzania is the best place for you to do that. So you're welcome to do that. You can email your inquiries and we'll be more than happy to support you in that area. So we have like other sectors like, tourism. Tourism is a fast growing industry. Like from Mount climbing, Mount Kilimanjaro, as you know, it's in Tanzania. We have like, national parks, Serengeti, Ngorongoro, but also we have cultural tourism. We're very much trying to promote that because people like to know. If you are, for example, I've been to so many countries myself, But whenever I go to a new country, I like to know the people, the culture. That's what makes tourism and the trip even memorable. So now cultural tourism is a big thing. Before COVID, we were sending so many people for that. And now, for example, at our chamber, we have online Swahili classes. What we do with our students, when they get to advanced level, we send them to Tanzania, they stay with the locals, they volunteer, and also that's part of their tourism. So that means that cultural tourism, they bring an income to the local economy as well. So we are really, really trying to promote this as well. So there's so many, for example, there's broadcasting, there's media, so many sectors where one can actually invest. But as I said, we are here to facilitate that. So if you have any questions, whether it's agribusiness, whether it's mining, oil and gas, tourism, manufacturing, for example, or ICT, which is another booming industry, please get in touch, and between ourselves and also other delegated bodies such as TIC, will be more than happy to support you and make sure you follow the right channel to get to what you need. Again, when it comes to minerals, I can't emphasize enough. Please do follow the right channel. Don't go by with the private people who are pretending to be who they are not, because there's so much scamming going on. So please do get in touch. We can connect with the right people, and then we'll be more than happy to see you succeeding in your quest. So Tanzania is in Africa, as you know, it's an emerging economy. Who would have thought China would be where it is today? So I'm a great believer that Tanzania and Africa as a whole is actually where it's a place to watch and to invest. So this is the right moment to actually do that. So I don't have much to say really, but I just wanted to touch base on the few opportunities and the opportunities that are available in Tanzania. And as I said, if you have any questions, our contact details are there. Get in touch, but also there are also some more discussion coming up. I'll be more than happy to answer any question if I can, and if I can't, I'll direct you to the right place, agents where they can assist you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Conrad.
Thank you very much, Edna, and of course for the people who are going to be watching this one out of this live conference, the contact of the Tanzania Chamber of Commerce Ireland is of course now on the display. So we could maybe continue with our continental highlights. The reason why we call them continental highlights, these are not the only ones that we have in the African continent, but they are the ones that we got for this event. And the idea of this is to present what is really upcoming into the continent, and also what is possible. So the first and second presentations have presented practical examples and of course support systems. And these presenters who are going to present now might also come up on the same line, but also with possibilities or options to or opening up for potential collaboration or then doers of the projects that they think could be sustainable. So I would like to welcome Mr. Moro for the first presentation from Tanzania, and he will tell us about the project they are running at the moment and possibly the pilot on the electric motorcycles in Tanzania. So the floor is yours, Eric, and feel free.
Okay, hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Eric Momemoro, and I'm a founder of Technoloads Tanzania Company Limited. I'm presenting today from Germany here in Nuremberg, but my company Technoloads is in Tanzania. So Technoloads Tanzania Company Limited, like you see, our mission is from the global innovation to the local communities. The background and the mission of our company. So as I said before, we started our company in April 2019. And we are working with different stakeholders in Tanzania, non-government organizations, some small business organizations, with the aim of our mission there in Tanzania in different fields. So these are some of our fields which we are dealing. We are dealing in mobility, agriculture, energy, and the environmental fields. Our mission is to stimulate our local companies, our local technology in Tanzania for the purpose of making an advancement for the to support innovation, to make advance for local innovations in Tanzania. So first of all, was our first project, which we started in July 2019. It is a mobility project whereby we introduce a mobility application which is called Get a Ride application. What is Get a Ride application? Get a Ride application is an application whereby it connects two groups of people within a Tanzanian society in mobility field, whereby you meet drivers and passengers, and within this application, the drivers can upload their trips and passengers can book the trips. So the application is available all in Tanzania, and when the driver they post their trips, they put all information where they are traveling, at what time, and how much does it cost to travel with the passenger. Until now, until this month, May 2020, we have almost 3,500 downloads. We continue to make movement on the mobility section, but our step is to make Tanzania a better place for mobility. So we continue to inspire Africa, especially to inspire Tanzania, by continuing solving the problem of mobility, but not only mobility, but also the problem of employment. So if you see in Tanzania, mobility in Tanzania is very important, but mobility is a very huge field. So for us as Techno Roads we cannot satisfy the whole field, but we specialize on the field whereby we can directly help people by creating employment and looking the way how they can do business. So our solution for mobility is in Tanzania. There's a lot of a lot of challenges in the mobility, and we were looking for our solution. Which solution can we find so as to create employment and to reduce some costs from the people of Tanzania? So we started to come with introduction of electric motorcycles business with sustainable to environmental conservation. And the aim of establishment this business, as we say, Techno Roads we want to empower young people. And many people in Tanzania, especially young people, they are motorcycles riders. They use motorcycles as employment, but they don't know that there's a possibility, maybe if you can use another way of technology to reduce the cost of operation. So we came with the idea of introducing electric motorcycles in Tanzania. We wanted the project first of all to start in Dar es Salaam, but our aim is to go to the other cities of Dar es Salaam, because in Tanzania, not only Dar es Salaam, the people they use motorcycles, but motorcycle is used as a way of transportation also for the other cities in Dar es Salaam. So there are some problems. That's why we decided to come with this solution. So I make some pictures so as to show you, for some people maybe they don't know the situation or the environment in Tanzania, to see how do these young people get employed themselves for electric as a motorcycles taxis. So the way you see the picture, how the young people in Tanzania sitting on their side, looking for the customers and getting customers. So there are some problems which are there, and one of them, as we are all aware, the world where it's going, this is the problem of environmental pollution, and also noise and gas emission. So we want to solve this problem by introducing these electric motorcycles. Also high fuel cost charges for every month. And we did a research, we were interviewed, we see how these young people, when they use fuel motorcycles, and how much is the cost for the fuel in order to do their business. So if you apply electric, if you will apply electrical motorcycle, the cost will be more cheaper as the fuel motorcycles. I will explain it later on the coming slides. Also, the high maintenance. The high maintenance, what I mean, that if you have fuel motorcycles, there's a lot of maintenance, like oil maintenance, like what we have, our technology from electric motorcycles now. They'll come, you don't need to do changing of oil because they are electric. And also we find that these electrical motorcycles, they are tubeless. So it means that for those fuel motorcycles, which I saw them in Dar es Salaam, most of them, that if they have problem with tubes, you have to go to somebody to repair them and then to continue use. But if you use the tubeless types, it's more profitable. Also, then you can save the cost. Also, limited income, that we hope that people which they will operate, they get also more income more than the fuel motorcycles. So this is our brand. So we came up with a brand, and we wanted also to show you. So this is the electric motorcycle, Emo Boda Boda. Maybe for some people which they don't know what Boda Boda is in Tanzania. So motorcycles, these motorcycles tags are used and they are being called Boda Boda. So our brand will be Emo Boda Boda. And then our project, cannot see it. Okay. Yeah. What are the benefits? Okay, I didn't see upward because of the setting. So these are the benefits. We have doing a research, and what we thought that how the people could be benefited in Tanzania, especially there are different groups in the society. So first of all, let me start with the Boda Boda riders. There's a lot of benefits like what I mentioned before. So especially on the low end, because compared to the fuel, which I mentioned before, high income, according to our research, according to what we are hoping, that the income will be more if people use electric motor vehicle more than fuel. Also, the low maintenance costs, like the way what I explained before. So this electric motorcycle will be more profitable. But if you go to the society, the whole society of Tanzania, that means that it will be a cheapest mode of urban transport. Yeah, of course, even fuel motorcycle is cheapest, but also electric motorcycle will be more cheap, because if you compare, somebody is using electric power will be cheap, so we'll take a customer with a cheap price more than somebody who is using a fuel motorcycle. Also, yeah, easy access to technology application. And also what is important for us is environmental friendly, like what I mentioned before, no noise, and it will reduce air pollution. But not only that, there is benefit to the side of the government. What the government will benefit, what we have been research for our business will take 5 years, and we are hoping that there will be employment creation of e-boda boda tax between 4,000 to 8,294 motorcycle drivers. Also employment for the other, because it will be a huge field with different partners. So charging vendors, for those people who will be interested to introduce some small charging shops, also we create employment to them up to 585. Also tax benefits to the government. That means that, we as a company, we as service provider will pay tax, and it means that boda boda riders, people from the society, so the government will acquire also tax. Also to the investors, because this is a big field, like what I say every time, we need investor to get involved. So this is the benefit for the investor also to become employment creator with us. Also pioneer for transformation of this technology in Tanzania. Until now in Tanzania, there's no company which introduced e-boda boda. So to be pioneer, to introduce this, to protect our environment is important. And also, profit. What we are planning that as long as we introduce this technology, there will be a good business and the profit will be there. Legacy is important for everyone who need to make legacy. Also, it's very important for such type of business. Also, not only that, also we want to facilitate United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And these are 4 goals, what we have seen. One of them is employment creation, which I have mentioned before, the benefit of the people. And the goal number 8 is industrial and innovation, infrastructures. This is what we are intending, because this will be a very big project with different infrastructures which will come inside, like charging infrastructure, like road infrastructure. So we promote also these sustainable goals. And you see environment, like what I mentioned before, we are going to reduce noise pollution, air pollution, also we are on that. The last one is partnership. So it means that it is also important for us to get partners so as to get involved in this business. Our business model for the whole project, we are intended to offer products and service. So we offer two products and 1 service. The product which we offer will be sale of motorcycles, and this, how we will say, is rent-on model. And the second product which we provide, we sell spare parts. As long as people, they will buy it, they will use motorcycles, they will come to us, or they'll come to our vendors to buy spare parts. The service which we are going to apply is the service of charging service for electric motorcycles. That means that we have different service or swapping stations, whereby the boda riders, boda tax, they can go and charge their motorcycles or change their batteries. And all of this, it will be connected to the an application, EMO application. That means for those boda riders, if they will need maybe to look for somewhere to charge their batteries, they will know from the application where they should go and charge their batteries. But not only that, but also for the customers, if they will need to have a ride, a boda boda ride, they'll check on the application. So the application will have different functionalities. This is our market, young people, both genders, boys and girls. So this is what we are focusing. So the market is based on the different categories, and one of them, they are boda boda riders and boda boda owners. Also we base on the border repair centers, like what I said before, the charging stations, charging swapping centers. This will be also one of our targeted customers, also spare parts sellers in Tanzania. So our business, we based on those customer base from these 4 types of groups. Yeah, this is our product. This is EMO or electric motorcycle, and when you see that the product, so the maximum speed is 70 km/h, but also you can see that it uses lithium battery, which is very important compared to the other fuel motorcycles, which they use different type of batteries for destruction of the environment. But not only that, the distance of the motorcycle, it is traveling until 90 kilometers, and the maximum road to carry people is 150. So this is another color of the product. So there's green, there's red, and it depends which color you need, but we technologists we decide to the green one. And before we start, is it okay for you? Yeah, hello?
No, it's all right. I think there was one participant with the microphone on.
Okay, I continue.
You can continue. We have a few minutes more.
Before we start the whole big project, we wanted to come with a proof of concept. We want to start with a pilot project. In Tanzania, there's no any electric motorcycle project, but we want to start it, we want to show it, we want to make a proof of concept. So we will start with a project, and our strategic area for pilot project will be in Dar es Salaam, in Kigamboni. Kigamboni is a half island in Dar es Salaam, so it's very practical to gather some data to do even a pilot project, and also there is a lot of border riders. But our project is going to start in August. In this year, in August, we're going to start that project. The number of demo units, we are planning to start with 70 EMOs, electric motorcycles. And until now, we have 5 demo units ordered, procured. So we still need some 65 demo units so as we can start our project. But the 5 demo units we have already ordered it, and it will be in Dar es Salaam in the mid of July. So yeah, applicability of the demo units during this 6-month pilot project. We will do different activities, not only collection of income, but also we do a study. The study of the business, the general business, how does it function? Is it functioning in Tanzania or not? But we hope it's functioning, because electric motorcycle, it has been functioning, and there's a lot of company, for instance, in Kenya, for instance, in Rwanda, which they are doing this business. So it's the same product which will also imply in Tanzania. But also during this time, we'll do marketing and awareness creation in Tanzania for the people to know it, because it is new product. It's something new. They don't. Most of the people, as long at the time when we were doing the research, we were asking people, and some of people didn't have idea about electric motorcycles. So it means that we need a market awareness, market information to the people to know our product, and to assess the sustainability of the new collection. So we'll see how do we collect revenue, if it will be cheaper, like the way what we plan from our research, but we hope also it will be cheaper than fuel. Data collection also in Tanzania. for the model and also for environment in Tanzania. The proof of idea, yeah, if the idea it transforms people's life, yeah? If the idea it creates employment. So this time during the pilot project, this will be the activities what we'll be doing. Also, we work with government, lobbying and convincing government and show the government how important electric motorcycles are. Also to improve the commitment of Tanzania on the issue of environmental global, to show the global how Tanzania do we move, because it is now time to move, and many people also in Africa, they are moving, and also we are moving in the same boat. Yeah, the revenue model during the pilot project. So we will have 3 business models. How we will collect our revenue through rent-own model, whereby these border riders, they will come to us, we give them contract, and they will be paying us daily basis as long as they will finish their time of payment, they will have the motorcycles. So they will be paying this money at the end of finishing their credit, then they will have the motorcycles, and we will continue look for the others. Also pay as you go model. Yeah, also people, they will come, especially our office will be also a center for charging. So it means that those motorcycles, they have their bicycle, their chargers, but as long as maybe if they will forget the chargers at home, they can pass through our office and charge the batteries or change the batteries. So also we'll provide a service. And this will be also repair service, like a garage, whereby the boda will come to us and make maintenance for their motorcycles. Yeah, there's a need for a pilot project. Alone as Techno Roads I is a long way, we need some people to work together, and the capital is important for us, so we need some people to cover the less 65 demo units and the other cost. But also not only that, we need partners who can come, who are interested to work with us. So not only investor for the capital, but also partners who can work together. But I'll show on the next slide how partners, they can partner with us. The investment for the whole investment for the pilot project is 103,850, and this will use, yeah, it will use, the invested fund will use as follow. The purchasing of 65 demo units plus shipping cost, which is 1,250. Marketing, as you see, 5,500 in terms of euro. Personnel, staff, and daily running cost. The total amount, like what I mentioned above, this is what we need. But not only that, we have business plan. So if some investors, some people will be interested to get to know more about our business, we are eager to send you the business plan. Yeah, types of partner we need. So these are types of partner: interested investors, also research, education institutions. We need some people whereby we can work together on continue making sage. But not only that, we need companies for the production of recycling batteries, because we cannot order all the time batteries from China. What we need if we finish a pilot project, if the business will be acceptable in Tanzania to produce our own products there in Tanzania, because we have raw materials. What we need is only education and technology. So if we venture, we partner with some different research institutions, some university, maybe we can come up. Also, we need company for installation of renewable energy and charging infrastructures. Yeah, and like what I have written and many more for those people who have no idea about this project, they can come up and thinking about it. So this is our team. I am a founder, and we have also Chief Strategic Officer, Project Manager, Procurement Officer, and we are going to employ 2 people, 3 people, Marketing and Business Development Officer, and 2 people who will do repair at our gallery. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, maybe I was very fast, but I hope you understand.
Thank you very much, Eric. This was very inspirational, and I think it's quite a project you are looking forward to in Tanzania altogether. I think I will not let this pass. There were 2 questions in the chat at the moment, and I will maybe drop it to you right away since you're not in a panel. I think it was from the Hanning Post, like how are you going to ensure enough energy to charge those motorcycles when you start your project?
Yeah, according to our research, of course, in Tanzania, there is electric from the government of Tanzania, which is being produced. So we will use this electricity from the Tanzanian government, but not only that, but also we want to use renewable energy, like what I presented before. So that is very important for us that we will introduce, we will venture with different companies which will produce solar energy. Yeah.
Thank you. Mrs. Hogan, you had a hand from Tanzania Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, thank you so much, Eric. That was a fantastic presentation. In fact, only yesterday we had a meeting with some investors who are looking at that kind of project. So they are looking in a different country, but now that you brought it forward, please do get in touch, and I'll be more than happy to connect you with them and see if they like your project. So you never know. This could be your lucky day.
Thank you very much, Ms.
Yeah. So please check the contact details. I think our staff are sharing. So just drop an email and we spoke. Just say we met today, and then I will just arrange a meeting, and then we can connect you with them.
Okay. I'll be happy to connect you guys too, no problem.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What a wonderful world. So connections happen in the meeting. So I think maybe I should also send this message to the government of Tanzania. This is an opportunity, this is an idea, this is something that we need to also hold with 2 hands. It can be today an electric motorcycle, but of course, tomorrow it could be an electric car, and it's all for the best of our country. So people like Eric are so many in the diaspora community, and it's very important to give these people a possibility. And I think this could go side by side from the previous presentations in the beginning today, where the sustainability element was lacking. So, for example, if, Africa Institutes could partner with people like Eric, who already have a plan to sustain a specific project, that could also be one of the ways to keep the sustainability elements into the country. And of course, for Eric as well, and also maybe to the universities in Tanzania, especially the University of Dar es Salaam. I mean, university company government partnerships are very, very important in such big initiatives, because those university graduates are going to be the workers of tomorrow. They are the research institute, and the government is a regulatory body, while you have a
technology. So I think it's very important to start looking into this, and I'm very happy to schedule as well the university partnership plan if you are interested. And it's free of charge. I'm not charging for this type of event, unless otherwise I'm in the consulting reading. But I'm very happy to support into that kind of degree as well. Here. This was very, very insightful to hear that we are going towards sustainability ourselves. There was a second question to do with if you have investment, but you presented that you are still in need of investment to facilitate your project. So that is still.
Addition to that,
yes, please.
in addition to that, yeah, we are looking for investors, but we cannot wait. Like the way what I said, we are going to start in August, and we have already procured. We have already bought 5 motorcycles. So they are on the way, but the plan for the pilot project is 70 electric motorcycles. So we welcome investors, we welcome people to sit together and start it.
Yes, and of course there was another comment. We can also connect you with your own University of Life Sciences Africa Institute, which was the first presenter today. They had a wonderful presentation about the solar energy box. And that could be something to prototype as well for your charging systems, for example, when you start your project. But I'm happy to connect these two institutions and several others who are interested. And of course, please continue reading also the chats so that you can also gallop with the time. And there is another person with e-bicycle for rural areas of Tanzania. So that could also be another connection. So look at the chat and take all the necessary comments. And of course, the questions we will be tackling them later.
Yes, I see them.
Yes, fantastic. So now, without further ado, I would like to welcome our presenter from the Catholic University of Valencia, Dr. Joel Buezo, to give also his insights about Ethiopia. And I know that we have a representative or colleague from Ethiopian embassy here, so maybe there can be some complementary discussions. But please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Conrad. Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, thank you. So, as Conrad has said, my name is Joel Buezo Rodenas. I'm working, I am professor and veterinarian in the Catholic University of Valencia. Conrad told me to use 10 minutes, I will try. So, again, my experience in Ethiopia started, I'm sorry, I'm going to close this, I think I am trying. Yes. I started when my university offered funds to develop cooperation projects there. And we started in Gondar. Gondar is a city in the Amara region in the north of Ethiopia. It's very close to Lake Tana. And why Ethiopia in Africa? First reason of choosing Ethiopia was the presence of Catholic missions that have helped to acquire knowledge of the territories and their main needs. In fact, a big part of the population is Christian, so there were a lot of links between those missions and the Catholic University. Our working in Ethiopia had 3 main points. First of all was animal health, mainly studying the prevalence of diseases of animals that can be transmitted to human, but also other diseases that limit their performance. For example, parasites, simple parasites that do not affect too much the health of the animal, but limit their performance, their productions. Second point was animal handling, human animal handling, to avoid the transmission of these diseases. For example, how to milk properly, how to handle a parturition using hygienic procedures. Also, works of food safety, conservation of food, cooking properly the food to avoid transmission of other diseases, and in general, veterinary advice, other health issues, animal genetics, reproduction, or nutrition. At the end of the day, the goal is human populations. We want people to be safe. We want people to produce food and in a correct way, efficient way, and safe way. So when we arrived to Ethiopia, I said that was our main goal. But we found some situations sometimes that were surprising for us. In many cases, we found situations in which livestock productions were very efficient. In fact, for example, as you can see in these pictures, in some farms where animals were fed with complete ration and with deworming protocols, they showed very good condition scores, as we can be more used in Spain. Also, we had contact with some research centers with limited funds in Ethiopia. They develop very interesting research. For example, in this agricultural research center that is based in Werer, this is in the south of Gondar. It could be in the east of Ethiopia. For example, they are working with a variant of a grass, elephant grass is called, a variant of this elephant grass that in their climatological conditions offer excellent growing and excellent concentration of protein and energy for animals. In fact, this elephant grass variant is going to be used in a project of self-sufficient farms. So animals can be fed with this forage, and the animal's manure is enough to recover the soil for future plantations. So we close this energy and material cycle being very, very sustainable. In this same center, they are studying the use of crossbred animals that combine the resistance of the local breeds, to the resistance to local diseases, to the weather, with the good performance of some other improved breeds. So they get these animals that combine those advantages. Moreover, in this research center, there is other project to teach local people, to teach local farmers modern livestock production techniques. In this case, for example, chicken that usually you find them running with the children, running in the street. They have built these small farms for local communities where animals are controlled. They receive very good rations, and they are not they are not in the street, so you can control their environment and what they eat. So also we can ensure the health of the consumers. But these research projects are not only projects. Lots of them have been applied to reality. For example, as you can see in the right of your screen, you can see as local farmers have invested in modern buildings for livestock to improve their environmental conditions, and so the animal welfare, and so consequently their productivity. One important advantage of Ethiopia is the weather. They combine in Ethiopia. You can find a very good combination of sunny days and also rainy days. In fact, Ethiopia has the same rain as United Kingdom, which is very surprising when when you don't know it. In these conditions, if they have this opportunity to stock the water and maintaining the supplies during the dry season, you can ensure grass or food for animals all along the year. But the most important thing we found in Ethiopia is the desire of work, the desire to work, to learn, and to improve their quality of life in a self-sufficient and sustainable way. And to say thank you to Conrad, to you all, I would like to show you a complete rainbow that we saw from the Agricultural Research Center, that we think it can be the future of Ethiopia if well-organized and funded projects are developed there.
Thanks a lot. It was a great observation, and I think I think it was Tanzania Chamber of Commerce who just presented the skin industry details, and I think this is one of those possibilities. For example, you realize them from Ethiopia. They're good for business and also for development. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It's already 3 o'clock. Maybe we can hear the Africa story shortly from Italy, and then we can treat you with an African music after that from Kantalomba or Romeo, and then we go to the panel discussion, which will be then the closing session of our day. So if Edwin is ready, please share your story. And remember to open your microphone just in case it's closed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Conrad, for your warm invitation to participate in this conversation on Africa, in this day of Africa, where we are getting really good insights about African development and good ideas that really promotes Africa development in the whole continent at large. As Mr. Conrad introduced me, I am Edwin Francis from Tanzania. I will be sharing with you today on a little story on Africa as a chameleon. This is not just to criticize Africa, but it's just a way to challenge ourselves, to assess the pace that we really have towards development in this competitive world. And I've said I'm going to talk Africa as a chameleon. I think we are all aware of what a chameleon is, and it is mainly characteristics which is changing colors. And Africa similarly is like a chameleon when you try to look in Africa at through a lens of pace towards development in which the world is trying to striving to achieve. The Sustainable Development Goals 2030, but also towards the agenda we have, which is 2063 on the Africa we want. So I just see this little story as a way to challenge ourselves, as a way to access ourselves as African. We can trace far back when African countries were trying to get independence from their colonial masters. That's a journey. The journey started there as independent states. And there are each and every country tried to figure out on how to develop its own people. And some countries adopted modes of development, others socialism, others capitalism. But it is crystal clear that currently the whole world is trying to strive in a really capitalistic world. And when you look at the story of Africa, Africa is moving slowly. Even when you try to look on the Millennium Development Goals, the assessment on Africa was not such satisfactory because the pace was too slow a bit. So I want to talk on two aspects regarding a chameleon. The first one is identity. Africa, as Africa, we are losing our own identity. We are failing to reveal the true authenticity of Africanism. So I would like to challenge my fellow Africans who are in this conversation today that we have things to do. There are a lot to do so that we can reveal out the authenticism of Africanism, so that we can really be visible in this competitive world. As you can look that the Chinese are moving fast, the European countries are moving fast, but we as Africans, we are taking slow steps as a chameleon. So we have really to move and cope with the world and leave aside this thing that Africa is trying to change dynamically with respect to maybe to a certain country, maybe like Chinese. Africans sometimes are doing like Chinese, like Indian peoples, like Europeans, like Americans. So we failed to recognize ourselves first, and then to reveal the true authentic of Africa with regard that the continent is really blessed with a lot of resources. From south to north, from west to east, Africa is full of abundance of natural resources, fertile soil, and so many resources. So I will argue Africa, when I speak in the aspect of the chameleon, in the issue of identity, as we know that a chameleon changes color according to its environment. So we will never really realize ourselves as Africans and reveal out what we have as Africans to the world unless we try to figure out what is in Africa and take it out to the rest of the world. And the other aspect is a pace. The pace is the motion, the motion towards development. And the subject matter of this event today is particularly deals with it's all about the competitiveness in this fast changing world. So we as Africans, we have to assess our pace towards development in this competitive world. I would like to agree on what the former Minister of Nigeria, Mr. Adien, once said that the time for Africa is now. We can't slow down. We must quicken the pace. We can't move forward fastly as the world changing and as the world requires, if we'll only remain moving as a chameleon, we as Africa. I strongly argue Africans to really quicken their pace to cope with the fastly changing world and to be aggressive like many other countries outside Africa, in Europe, in America, in Asia, so that we can all have an inclusive world with development in all areas, so that no one is being left behind, as the agenda on 2030 on Sustainable Development Goals stress, and also on the blueprints, as the blueprints of Africa ourselves, the 2063 agenda requires that no one will be left behind on that agenda. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit on the chameleon, to have a picture on Africa as a chameleon, so that we can all try to figure out on how we can increase our pace on development as Africans in different aspects, in different walks of life, from agricultural industry, science and technology, fishery, tourism, in education, so that we can have Africa which is developing Africa, in which all these people from south to east, south to north, east to west, the entire continent has an inclusive development. I would like also to recognize some of the countries in Africa who are doing very great things in different areas. When you talk, for example, Nigeria and Kenya, South Africa, they are doing better in science and technology. as has been recognized worldwide, that they are booming countries in science and technology in this digital world. But also, I would like to recognize some countries who are doing better in democracy. For example, in my country, we all know that there was our country. We lost our president, our lovely president, President John Pombe Magufuli, in March, and then there was a very smooth transition of power to our current president, who is Mama Samia Suluhu. So that really gave a picture of how a democratic country is. We experienced and we have experienced a really democratic state. And no one expected that it will be a very smooth process like that, but Africa has, Tanzania, a country in Africa, has shown to the rest of the world that it is possible. And similarly, the other countries in Africa should really imitate the good example from Tanzania in the case of democracy. So I'd like to end my discussion in that way, but as a call to action, it's our time now as Africans to rise up. It's the time now for Africans to increase our pace, and it is time now for Africa to not live as a chameleon, but rather to try to show and reveal out our own authenticity and our own originality as Africa, and increase the pace in this competitive world. Thank you very much, Mr. Conrad.
Thank you very much for the story, for the highlight, and of course for the perspective as well, because this is a bit different perspective that from what has been presented here. So a chameleon has to have its own identity, even if it's a changing color, but it should be identity that is recognizable. And this can also facilitate a true collaboration and also realistic sustainability on whatever plans we have. Thanks a lot, Edwin. And Romeo, are you here? Can you connect now?
Yes, hello, yes.
Hello, fantastic.
Yes.
You have a wonderful background. Please, the floor is yours. We have listened to a lot of insights, and now we would like to dance a little bit in an African way.
Oh, that's beautiful. First of all, I want to say thank you, Mr. Host Conrad, for giving me this opportunity to be part of such a beautiful movement and all the love for Africa. And I want to say hello to all people around. So basically, my name is Romeo Kabwe, and Africa is my mama land, as I come from the United States of Africa, and Tanzania is the motherland. And I am residing in Finland currently. I am a chef by profession, and I'm also an artist. I do music. So after getting this invitation from our brother, Conrad, I say I will do 1 or 2 numbers special for you people, and I hope all is going to be fine. So I hope I'm clear. Am I clear there, Conrad?
Yes, please. You are clear.
All right.
Very clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lovely. So this number I'm going to do, first one is called I Come from the USA of Africa. And bear with me, I don't have my band over here because of Corona, so we cannot meet so much. So hopefully we all enjoy. I come from the USA of Africa. Africa is my mama land. I am a Luba. I am a Luba. I am a Luba, 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 Luba man. I'm from the USA of Africa. Africa is my mama land. I am a Luba. I am a Luba, 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 Luba man. First of all, I wanna give thanks to the Most High for the gift of life and love He has given me. I'm gonna rejoice, rejoice and rejoice. I'm gonna rejoice, rejoice and rejoice. day in, day out. Day in and day out. If life is good, it's good. What you gonna do? If life gets tougher, what you gonna do? I'm gonna rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. I'm gonna rejoice, rejoice and rejoice. Cause I come from the USA of Africa. Africa is my mama land. I am Eluba. I am Eluba. I am Eluba, Luba, 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 Luba man. I'm from the USA of Africa. Africa is my mama land. I am Eluba. I am Eluba. I am Eluba, Luba, 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 Luba man. La mano kamatanga makitatan, la mano kanatepela, la mano kamatanga makitatan, la mano kanatepela. Jaco de abundance, the abacanto lumba, the abundance, the abacanto lumba. La mano kamatanga makitatan, la mano kanatepela, la mano kamatanga makitatan, la mano kanatepela. Jaco de abundance, Yabakanto Lumba, Ninki Bondance, Yabakanto Lumba. I'm from the USA of Africa. Africa is my mama land. I am Eluba. I am Eluba. I am Eluba, Luba, 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 man. That was the one number.
Thanks a lot for this insight. I think your microphone was jumping a little bit for the next number, so you can be a little bit stiff.
All right.
Yes, but it was great. Thanks a lot for easing up our brains. And we will, of course, hear your second number then when we are finishing the meeting in about 45 minutes. Lovely. And for now, I would like to officially open the panel discussion that we had in our program as well. This was a nice way to cut off this screen watching but listening to the music. And with the panel discussion, we have our first and second presenters as well in this starting of this meeting. So Dr. Bernard Weigemann from Africa Institute at the Neo-Ulm University of Applied Sciences, and then Mrs. Edna Liochu-Hogan from Tanzania Chamber of Commerce in Ireland and the EU. In addition to them, we also have Mr. Henning Post. He's a business development and training manager at the East Africa at CROMS, East Africa in Kenya. So the panelists could open your cameras, and I think it is time to discuss. Our panel question was, to what extent is the African continent ready for global competitiveness, and what are the development possibilities and opportunities that should not be taken for granted? Already had some insights from your presentations, and now we are going to discuss continuously, and maybe as a starting point, if you can allow me, I could get back to the question we had when we had a presentation from the Africa Institute. There was a lot of discussion in your presentation about sustainability of your projects that they don't continue. And Mr. Post, you had a question there that it's important to have a feasible project plan in order to ensure sustainability. What do you see this element? What has been lacking when you are working on this project collaboration with the colleagues from the African institutions?
Hi, Conrad. Hi, thanks for the invite, and yeah, hello to everybody. Yeah, maybe let me just introduce myself quickly. So I work for Krones here in Kenya responsible for the whole East African region, and Kronos is the biggest manufacturer of bottling and packaging machines in the world. So we can clearly say we help you to get liquid beverages. Basically every third bottle in the world is touched by one of our machines, maybe just as our background. And we are active here from, let's say, Tanzania to Sudan to Burundi, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Kenya. So we are basically handling here 13 countries in the whole region. And yeah, Konrad, thanks for picking up the question again. Basically, I think it's always in any type of projects which you're doing, it's very, very important that you have a sustainable plan behind it. If we look now, for example, into programs to train people or to enhance entrepreneurs, we basically always have to have a plan. How can it be sustainable for the institution? Because as soon as the funding money is not there anymore, the projects, unfortunately, most of the time get stopped by the institutions. We currently have a very, very interesting project here in Kenya with the GIZ together, where the German government is funding up to, totally, I think it's up to 7 vocational institutions, and introducing apprenticeship programs after the German system for skills development. And we've just learned in this that, you know, after 5 years, you know, the project money is gone. What are we doing afterwards? How can we sustain it? And we've really worked together quite a lot based on our experience here in Kenya to see, okay, how can we make it sustainable for the institutions as well as for the companies who are partnering in.
Fantastic, thank you. So my mic was locked. And I think this is very, very important. I know Mrs. Hogan is working with Tanzania at the moment as a precise location for business networking and kind of fueling. How do you see this element of sustainability in terms of the projects that Africa and partners are starting together? Is your company or organization working with an eye into that, or what is your take into this? Because it's true that many times when the project starts and it ends, then there is no continuation.
Thank you, Conrad. Yeah, so sustainability is a very big part of most projects that we champion and we facilitate here. And to be honest, it's very good to see, because many companies nowadays, they are very aware that the sustainable goals and everything that has to be sustainable, because otherwise we are looking for longevity here. And in order to achieve that, you need to have programs that can actually get there, and also you can pass on projects to generations to come. So yes, we do that. For example, we are working with a Spanish company at the moment, and they have fantastic technology that can make, let's say, paint that when you apply to a building, the mosquito won't come near the house. So as you know, malaria is #1 killer in Africa. But how do they do this? But in order for them to make sure that they apply sustainability to the project, that can actually become a technology that can continue growing and actually sustained for a long time, actually planning to travel over. Sorry, my phone is just very busy there. Sorry. Can you hear me? Okay. So yeah, so they're planning to travel over to Tanzania and share the skills and the technology and the knowledge behind it, and have plans in place to make sure the project will be sustainable even if they're not there. Because as we experienced in the past, there used to be a tendency where donors would go to, let's say, Africa, set up something, and the minute the funding stops, that's the end of the project. So nowadays, we really try to ensure that they have a plan B, make sure the project is sustainable, they apply the I call them the 5 W's and H, journalistic 5 W's and H. What, where, how, when, which, and when. So when you can apply all those elements to projects, yes, that means the project will definitely be there forever. So whatever project that we take on, we always try to find a way of ensuring that the project is going to be sustainable. I can give one example. For example, I'm sure maybe you've seen in the social media, there's this project called Mrembo Shopping Basket. So we know Paris Agreement, it's so pro-environment, pro-climate, supporting the environment. And many people always assume when it comes to technology and how to maintain the climate and climate change and the environment, many people are from Western. People are the ones who do something. But actually in Africa, we are doing a big part of that. So this project is called Bonito Fashion. They are creating hand weaving the shopping basket that they've been tested that they can last you for a long time, for many, many years to come. So this is the effort of this group of women to stop the usage of plastic bags, because plastic bags have been banned in most parts of the world, even in Africa. In Tanzania, for example, the government did something really amazing to stop the usage of plastic bags. Now, the very same basket, they are now #1 seller in Europe. So if you go to this company's website, you can see the basket they are selling in Scandinavian countries, in Ireland, in Europe, in America, because climate people are pro-environment. They realize this is a fantastic product. And not only that, the technology that goes into making this product, it's the technique that will be passed on to generation and generation to come. So that is a long-term solution for environment, to save the environment. So this project is actually sustainable, because no matter what, whether there's a shortage of funding, whether today there's not going to be any funding, this project will continue, because the skill has already been shared by people and how to make the project, sustainable. So yeah, so we have examples like that. So yeah, definitely, I do share that sustainable goals, sustainability project are the way to go. So if a project does not have any of the 5 W's and H, for me, I'm always go like, when is this going to end? And I think it's a waste of time if you don't have any plan B in terms of sustainability. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Plan B is very important. And I think, again, today we have heard the diaspora speaking here. Diasporas with ideas, diasporas who know the cultures, diasporas who are aware of the situation in the country. Those could also be great mediators, because they know how to communicate the culture. They also know how they could advise beforehand. For example, if the diaspora is living in your country and knows rules and regulations of both countries. So, because sometimes I know culture is one of an element which two sides fail to understand. What is a project? And for that reason, I would direct this to the Africa Institute, Vanessa and Dr. Wageman. How do you see the aspect of culture, and how could you manage this throughout your activities during the implementation?
You passed me a very difficult question. Yeah? Africa has so many cultures. Yeah, and certainly it also may be the case when Africans and Europeans are together, then you might have not the original African culture. We adopt a little bit as Europeans to Africa, Africa is a little bit to us, so we have a different situation. And honestly, during the project where I was participating, I recognized cultural problems less than I had expected. Yeah, maybe at the university, punctual appearance is not as taken for granted as in many other places, but after a certain time that didn't remain a problem. So usually I would say there are greater problems than just the cultural problems so far. And we spoke about sustainability. Of course, there should be a plan B, as I said, as conclusion with regard to the project in Abermensch. But even if you have agreed on a plan B, nobody is sure that the plan B really is implemented. Yeah? Maybe the university says we are going to continue the program, but you're not sure that they do. Maybe the director wanted to have that training project, but nevertheless, other things were more important. And when the project is finished, he gets back to his old priorities. Or he may have an excuse and say, oh, we don't have money enough, we don't have the people. Some of the trained staff now are entrepreneurs, yeah? And there are enough of excuses if people don't want. So a plan B is only of worth when during the project people become convinced about carrying on with the continuation program by themselves. And this can only be achieved by a personal relation and by good results of the project. Yeah. And speaking about Kronis, I was in Berlin in a workshop, and they spoke so friendly and so good about Kronis that I really was looking forward to meet Henning Post here. They spoke about the trainings going on with Kronis. First, training workers to make simple maintenance, then more difficult maintenance, and after a certain time to do also repairs and to accompany them with the theoretical knowledge to be understood for repairing themselves. So I think this training during work is a wonderful approach. I wanted to thank Henning for that I heard some years ago about that approach of Kronis.
Exactly. And just for Henning, are these the workshops or the work that you're doing, do they have to make the beverages, or it is only for specific sort of maintenance equipment that a beverage is?
So basically, Konrad, on that topic, we are the machine supplier to handle all the bottling, from blowing the bottles to filling, labeling, packing them into a 6-pack, 12-pack, putting it on a pallet. And the same as when this was now for PET, the same applies for glass and cans. So we are the machine manufacturers. I also got a question from Lori. Anne, are the liquid beverages local product? If it's not, it should be, and local product only. Maybe on that as well. So we work together with companies in the several countries. Now, if you look, for example, in Tanzania, we have Bakresa, Coca-Cola in Tanzania, all the breweries. So we are basically the supplier for the local companies. If now the company is local, or let's say owned by a bigger group, is now not really something which is too interesting for me personally. I think it's very, very good if you have the option of having a local manufacturing. And for many, many years, Kronis has been active now in Africa for over 30 years. We have been supplying equipment to really enhance the local manufacturing process.
Fantastic. And what could you say about working with Africa? Is it a good continent to operate business with, or are there some things that you find some reservations? Or what could be those great things that made you to go there? Or your company?
I think on the one side, I think there are two sides of it, or to that topic. I think on the one side, Africa is a great continent of opportunity. You have a very, very young, energetic population who is willing to learn, willing to work. Interesting startups. If you now, for example, compare Europe to Africa, just from, let's say, the development in Europe now, we basically had the phase where agriculture was big, then we came into industrialization. Now we are somehow going into the digitalization phase. In Africa, the industrialization was kind of skipped a little bit. It is there, but not as much as in Europe. But now the digitalization in Africa is much, much faster than, for example, in Europe. If you look now, for example, in Kenya, the M-Pesa, mobile money and so on, they invented that way, way before Apple or Google actually started to come up with such projects, which is very interesting. I think it's now very vibrant here. It's very, yeah, optimistic. But on the other side, for sure, you have to be, how should I say, you have to be very, very flexible. It's not as easy to do business here than it is maybe in other parts of the world. It has its own challenges. If I look at infrastructure, for example, in Nairobi, they assume $500 million are lost per day because of traffic jams in Nairobi, because the infrastructure is poor. We have power cuts. We don't have, let's say, or power is very expensive, although there are a lot of, let's say, natural resources where you could produce power. If we look now, for example, into Ethiopia, we have been active in Ethiopia for the last 3 years now. Has its own challenges again, where when it comes to foreign currency, being able to support customers who don't get any euros, you know. So I think you just have to be flexible in the way of how you want to do business, and you have to find ways how to work around the challenges. And if you find these ways, then you can be very, very successful in Africa.
Wonderful. I think that is a good tip for Mrs. Hogan in your trainings for the people going. Flexibility, and the chameleon that we just heard could be revealed here slowly. We continue with the element of digitalization, because we had a question from Sana, if I say your word or name correctly. There was a question that Sana posted here that based on your own experiences, how could digitalization help small-scale entrepreneurship in Africa? So M-Pesa has already been highlighted here, but all of you three, what do you think would be the best, based on your experience, best answer to this question? Mrs. Hogan. The microphone is full. Yes.
Sorry. Did you mention me? Yeah? Did you say my name?
Yes, please.
Oh, sorry. Yes, absolute digitalization is to be honest, if not the only way nowadays if you want to progress in anything you do. I give you one simple example. I actually saw that ad on CNN. I can't remember the name of the company, but there's this young lady in Uganda who came up with an app that connects all public transport all over East Africa. And now I think Africa as a whole. And now she just came up with this app, and it's working. Now she's been featured over here. She's getting support, but digitalization. So if she had that idea and kept it to herself and tried to connect people manually, it would never work. But now it's at that scale because she applies, digital, technology. Another good example, guys, is Uber. Here we are free now. Different names, but there's it's the same thing. And now you have even boda boda, bicycles, matatu. They're all digitalized. It's absolutely fantastic. So you can actually live here knowing that you're going to get a bus at so and so time. I can leave from Dublin, book my flight, book my hotel, do everything, get my local transport by using my phone. So if that does not tell you much about how important technology is, then I don't know what can. So food as well. I don't know, it's not as much in Africa, but it's coming there. You can actually, with the COVID, what happened, we were working from home, but we did so much. You can order a cleaner, you can do so much just by using your phone. So this is telling you the power of technology. So whether you like it or not, some people are very skeptical, they don't like the pace of the technology, but hey, it's there and it's very important. I know what Jaime said, it's true. Africa, I'm talking about Tanzania, they leapfrogged a certain stage. Because it's funny you said about mobile banking there, because a few years ago I was offered a scholarship to do a PhD on exactly that. Okay, but I couldn't at the time. So most African countries, they leapfrogged that industrialization and also traditional banking. But now, because of the industrialization, it's now coming up, many people are going back to the state that they actually skipped. So technology, digitalization is becoming even more important for whatever they do now in order to catch up with the rest of the world. And you're right, when it comes to mobile banking in Europe, for example, I know one of the biggest banks here, they only installed that app recently about using your phone to transfer money from one person to another. And it's not even commonly used here because people here are very traditional banking. They trust that more. But in Africa, we are so advanced in that area. And so it gets to show you the young, vibrant youth we have, they're very technology savvy. They're actually doing it practically, but we just need to encourage them to do more. But technology and digitalization is very important for any kind of business you do nowadays. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. What do you think, Dr. Weidemann, based on your experience? Your microphone is muted. Have you been experiencing the digitalization element when you are doing your projects in Africa?
Yes, of course. Yeah, we saw this example which were already here which were already mentioned by Edna and others, of course. But generally, I don't like the subject of digitalization to be exaggerated. A certain progress there, of course, is necessary, and it's fine to have a very efficient banking system, but you can't feed the population just by good banking systems. You know, what is needed is also an efficient agriculture, an efficient industry. If you look at the times when Europe was still very less developed compared with today, you saw a very inefficient agriculture and industry. And if we look today at Africa, we see many parts, sorry, we see a lot of regions where where the agriculture could be much more efficient, that more machinery rings could be established in rural areas where companies, doesn't matter from where, e.g., for example, Europe, bring in technology, maybe even simple technology, and where these techniques can be rented to farmers. They can be trained to how to use them, how to repair them, etc. And this would increase the efficiency of agriculture very much. And at the same time, companies producing this technology could make the first step to Africa. But up to now, I rarely heard about teams to go into that direction. Yeah, and of course, a company like Drone, as we heard, for them digitalization is important. But even more important is the efficiency of the manufacturing process, and that people are trained. Then, of course, having phones to get information, how to do it, then that is important. But digitalization always should be connected to a good manufacturing process and a good agricultural process. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So digitalization and connectedness to different areas or business lines in a sense. But I think also it's important to for the Africans to share the kind of competencies. because especially for the small businesses. So one with one competence could share with another one and empower each other to get moving forward. I think that's very important. So it's a very good example from Uganda that Edna has given, and I think we had someone from the Embassy of Uganda here. Just in case you have something to add, you're welcome to do that. As a last note for all the panelists, what would you say? How could you say? What would you say if you want to give a statement about Africa in terms of its potential and inspirations, based on your experience, of course? Anybody could start.
Maybe from my side, I was just reading an article today, and I think we can discuss a lot about, let's say, total GDP, but so on. But I think I leave that for the other panelists. Just the food or just the beverage market, basically, where we are operating in, has currently a volume of, I think, $340 billion in Africa. It's only in Africa. In the next 10 years, this will grow up to $1 trillion a year. So I think, and that is within 10 years, and these are current figures after the COVID year, which obviously had a big impact. So I think the potential in Africa is really, really huge. For me, if it continues in the way that, let's say, it's easier to do business, more infrastructure investments are done. People get the right skills, more practical skills, not only the research skills, and really, let's say, apply the knowledge. Furthermore, also governments are, let's say, better in collecting taxes and using the taxes for the purpose, like education, infrastructure, etc. I think when the opportunities are, even after 2030 will be great. It's probably the continent with the biggest opportunities.
Thanks a lot, Mrs. Organ.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So for me, I could sum up by saying Africa is usually undermined. But for example, if I ask you, any of you today, how many companies in Africa you think they have a revenue turnover, annual revenue over 1 billion and above? How many companies in Africa? The answer would be very few or none. But the truth is there are over 400 companies of that nature that bring that amount per year in Africa. And the number is growing very fast. So the potential in Africa is huge. Like many people thought the same about China, but look at China now. It's actually making the USA sweat. Another developed world, it's doing extremely well. I don't know, forget about the other stuff, but you know, it's actually doing well economically. And now it's moving to Africa very fast. If someone is knocking at your door constantly, that means you got honey, you have something precious and they want a cut of it. And that's what is happening now, okay? So what I would say is to my fellow Africans and African governments as well, Africa should aim to look for business partners and not aid providers. Africa has so much potential in terms of technology, in terms of natural resources. Look at Tanzania, for example. Look at other countries in Africa. Minerals, everyone is going to Africa. This is what people are marching to, guys. So if people are coming to your home all the time, they want to visit you, that means you got something really pretty, very nice, very, very nice and attractive. So there's gems there. There's a lot. So we should aim to get good investors who are happy to share the revenues equally. So we need business partners and not aid. And also another thing I would like to say for foreigners who like to come up with good, amazing, which are well-intended charitable projects, before you do anything and think, oh, I'm going to do this in Africa, you really need to do your research, because people there are now aware, they really know what ticks for them. It's not what you want to give to them. So engage as equal partners for mutual benefit and not otherwise. Then Africa will really step ahead. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Bergman. That was a very, very powerful speech. It's gonna get its own highlight. And we should send this to Mama Samia Suluhu because I'm sure she will support that.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks to Edna. I think she is completely right. What is more needed are business partnerships with, let's say, European companies. We are neighbor continents, and there should be a much stronger cooperation between these two continents. Even Europe is too small to stand alone against the growing Chinese empire. And Africa is in a similar situation, but maybe Europe and Africa together could do a better job. Okay, but how to find these African-European business partnerships? I think there is one big hurdle to be overcome. If you look at European papers, and I just speak now for German papers, then when you read something about Africa, then it's in, let's say, in 80 or 90%, it's negative. Yeah, it's about war, it's about civil war, it's about catastrophes, about anything bad. But there is rarely something said about the development, about opportunities, and so on. Yeah, a lot of my local paper, for example, here, they have a lot of articles on poor regions and that we should help them and collect money, etc. And I spoke to them and I said, that's nice, but you should know that you are disturbing that Africa becomes a better image. So you should also have articles about the development in Africa.
Exactly.
So, but of course, these papers, they don't change their attitude by themselves. So what would be needed is ideas how public relations activities of African embassies and of African chambers could have an influence on the mentality of the European press. Because as long as the image of Africa is so bad for many of, even for smaller company managers, then it is always hard to decide to go to Africa when they also could go, for example, to Vietnam or Cambodia or other places. I don't have the ideal solution for that, but I think this would help very much also to put money in this attempt to improve the image of Africa in the industrialized world. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That's very important. I see a hand from Lorianne. Please, take the floor.
Yes, very quickly, I wanted to respond to Mr. Wageman's comment. The image proposal is great and it's good, but we all understand the real world and the propaganda that we deal with. So I feel as though, even though it's a great idea, it will be frugal at this time. And so image and identity should only be really right now the concern of Africans to strengthen themselves within themselves. And as they do so and such, it will matriculate out into the other areas and the community naturally on its own without having to propagate, publicize, or promote itself. Natural instinct will come about with investors who have a good and natural concern for development in Africa instead of just promoting yourself and getting God knows what to come in and do whatever. So I just wanted to put that out there real quick.
Thanks very much. I see so many institutes, they are called Confucius Institutes around our universities in Africa. I would like to give a message to my dear African leaders, and that is, if it's possible, by the utilization of the African diasporas around the world, which is of course going to be our next year's Africa Day theme, why can't we start the African institutes around the world? Because that will keep our identity noticeable. It can solve a lot of PR to the rest of the world, and the world will understand us with these African institutes that we have. Not only a degree program, but an institute as the concept of a Confucius Institute, for example. Yes, please, Mrs. Hogan, and then Henning Post.
Me?
Yes, if you have something to say. You came up.
Oh, sorry, no, I was just going to say, I do agree, because sometimes we are responsible for changing that image, that perception. I tell you, I give you a simple example. Last Wednesday, I was invited by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Irish Minister for Foreign Affairs, to discuss about, few things, and also to mark Africa Day. So the crew and some of the people, the journalists, the media people, they were asking me questions that, in a way, like, what support? I was like, no one needs support. No one is, why do I need a support? We don't need any support. Ask me relevant questions about economic development, empowerment, opportunities. Then I'll give a partner that you can engage with to do good, not only for Europe, but also for Africa. So I only answered, we came into an agreement, and we ended up having a fantastic session. I think they're going to share it on social media and everywhere in the media here. So we ended up having conversation about business, economy, and everything else that is for development. Because I said, this is why I'm here. So I accepted the call because I want to talk things that are good for my continent. And then I give another simple example. About 2 years ago, there was a lady who started collecting second-hand toys, and she was sending them to Africa. I had a question for her. I said, have you done your research well? Do you think these toys are needed in Africa? As if Chinese have not done enough of this. And actually, Chinese toys are brand new, not second-hand. So I think if you want to do good for Africa, talk to people like us who know the reality of what is happening before you can come up with your idea, because you are getting funding from someone. That's another one of those ways they use to benefit themselves. I don't know if you know, many charities have been kicked out of Africa because they have been for money laundering, for misuse of funding, for giving them huge salaries, pretending for the name of Africa. I'm doing this for Africa. That's why I said in my statement, Africa needs business partners and not fake and very, very, most of the time, aid providers. Because it's about time we put a stop to people using the name Africa for their own personal gain. And this is what we need to promote. No one can do that for us. We can do it. 2 years ago, before COVID, I brought a big group of tourists to Africa. I took them to the villages in Moshi, Kilimanjaro, where the mountain is. Everyone knows Mount Kilimanjaro. The Europeans were like, oh my God, they couldn't believe they were in Africa, in the village where there was electricity, tarmac road, everything good, schools and everything. I said to them, why are you very surprised to see such a developed villages? They said, because what they see in Western media is very negative of Africa. Now, I took my part and I did something I wanted to show them in a practical way. So that's one way of actually changing the image and perception of people about Africa. We are also very responsible ourselves as diaspora. where we are ambassadors of our countries. You don't need to have the title ambassador to do good for you, for your family, for your country, and for your adopted country. Always important to be a good ambassador at whatever you do, because people look up to you and they can generalize, oh, this is how Africans are. So we're very responsible. We need to be very responsible. We can change our own image. We can bring the right people, the right investors to Africa if we know our identity, what we want, and who we stand for. It's our own job, not Western media, because those people, they propagate, they have their own reasons. It's our job to make sure we change that in a practical way. I don't know if you know what I mean. Okay, thank you.
Definitely, and thank you very much. That was powerful again, and I think it's important. It always starts from you and nobody else. That was very, very important. Henning, you had a hand up at some point.
No hand up, but I can also maybe comment quickly.
That's right.
But I think, Edna, you're quite right. With tourism and more people traveling here, it's just a different perspective. I remember that from me personally, people thought, he moves to Nairobi, in which bush city is he living now, and then when people come to visit me, they see, okay, hey, it's not so much different, maybe, okay, the traffic and the age of the cars and so on, yes, but at the end of the day, it's not like that we live in a village without power and water, what everybody believes. So yeah, I can understand it. It's a bit unfortunate. I think a lot of the, let's call it, bad reputation in Western media is also coming from very, very unfortunate decisions in the past and currently made by governments here, which, if you steal a lot of the country's taxpayers' money and be very corrupt, and this is unfortunately in some countries here in Africa, it doesn't draw a nice picture. And then, if all this aid money which is coming from the donors is then also going into corruption, which unfortunately happens so many times here, that doesn't help, when the other Western governments are also quite fed up, so I think there are a lot of points to that, and yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. I hope it will change over the years. I think social media will play a big role in that people will be able to see, okay, what's actually going on.
Definitely, and that's an important section, I think. I remember the late President Magufuli had a very strict standing to his taxpayers' money, and you could see the development of Tanzania now in just 5 years. So I think if we start from ourselves, it's better to really move to the really big next level. Dr. Wagner.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Mrs. Edna has misunderstood what I meant, or I didn't express myself correctly. I didn't mean that the Western media have to change their position. I meant that African people, as Edna said, as ambassadors of their continent, can and should have an effective influence on the way the media of the North are reporting on Africa. Yeah? Very often they have just one eye, not because they are bad people, but because one eye is closed. They don't, most of them don't have the information and how to make interesting articles. They write that what people like to read because on sex and crimes and mostly negative news. So they should be better informed about the positive things going on in Africa. That was what I meant. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
I think the time is already over 4 o'clock here, as we promised will be our end, but this was good because it shows that people want to discuss Africa. People are thirsty and people would like to know more. But you could see that most of the key elements here are clear, that development is there, the possibility is there. It's how do we want to do the development. It's not the Africa of charity, it's an Africa of partnership. It's an Africa of collaboration, it's an Africa of diaspora, it's an Africa of connectedness, of university industry partnership. It's an Africa where sustainability is important. All these things are very important, they're very heavy, but it all starts from us. My only wish could be that Africa could also start to gallop the world the other way around, helping out the people who are acting, but also utilizing their diaspora in terms of putting Africa identity, as you all have presented here, into the map of the world. And not to be scared, because you know, many times when someone sees, oh, you are from Africa, okay, you have to show that you know. If I didn't want to organize Africa Day today, maybe nobody could. But who could know about the things we have discussed? So we need more of these. I wouldn't like to take much more of your time. I'm sure you have families and other things, but we'd like to thank all of you participants here, and especially our keynote presenters and the presenters of Continental Highlights, and of course those who entertained us during the session, the representatives from different African high commissions who are here, and of course mostly those who wake up just early in the morning to join this meeting all the way from Barbados. I'm very happy to have this discussion running, and as it was a recorded event, we are going to edit it so that it can be in the social media. We have a YouTube channel called Inspire Network, and it's also going to be shared with all the presenters here. And the links will be running around all, because we think this is a message that the world has to know here. It's a commemoration, and that's why we are here today. So please, if there was anything that you wouldn't like it to be presented, you can write an email to us. It's just inspire@inspireconsult.net, and we will be able to edit it. But this will be published on Friday so that we have time to hear from other people as well. I would ask, as we are closing, if Romeo is around to give us our final number. I thank you, and I wish you a very good rest of the
I love my life that much that I wanna be happy. I lift up my eyes, them shooting stars. When them shoot from the left, I'm to the right. And when them shoot from the right, I'm to the left. And I'm gonna bounce, bounce, bounce on front, on front, on front and back. And I'm gonna sing, 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 jump, jump, jump. And I'm gonna shake my booty. Yes, I got this energy, and it's my therapy. I say no, 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 no to the praises. And I say yes, yes, yes to this party. I'm gonna party harder tonight until the rooftop of them dancing floor. Blaze up and blaze up, close up and blaze out, 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 close up and blaze out. Re, 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 re. Jump, jump, and shake your jump, 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 and shake your ndombo. Ah, ndombo loe oh, ndombo loe ndombo loe oh, oh, oh I say no. Yes, yes to this party. I'm gonna party harder tonight until the rooftop of them dancing floor. Blows up and blaze up, blows up and blaze up, blows up and blaze out. Blows up and blaze up, blows up and blaze up, blows up and blaze out. Akaji chikaji chika, akama chichonga makaji kaji, kabush, kabushi kambum kaji, kaji chikaji chika, akama chichonga makaji kaji, kabush, kabushi kambum kaji, kaji chikaji chika, akama chichonga makaji kaji, kabushi kambum. Ndombo loe, ndombo loe, ndombo loe, ndombo loe. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, hata kama ukiwa Ulaya o. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, nyumbani yo, yo. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, hata kama ukiwa Ulaya. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, nyumbani yo. Home sweet home, even if you are home alone. Home sweet home, home alone. Home sweet home, even if you are home alone. Home sweet home, home alone. Mie niko nalia, ndugu zangu wanasema mie nimefanikiwa, mie mwenzenu na mpate mie mie wapo, mie niko nalia, wapenda nchi kwetu, wapenda kulu kwa muji, mema yuyu. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, hata kama ukiwa Ulaya. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, nyumbani ni nyumbani, hata kama ukiwa Ulaya. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, oh sweet home, even if you are home alone. Oh sweet home, home alone. Oh sweet home, even if you are home alone. Oh sweet home, home alone. Hata kama hauna pesa, hata kama hauna mali, hata kama hauna chapa, hata kama hauna shilingi, hata kama hauna madola mayuro, uliza poli, regeza kama kijana, utakuja pata. Uliza poli, regeza kama kijana, utakuja pata mama. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, hata kama ukiwa Ulaya o. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, nyumbani o, nyumbani o. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, hata kama ukiwa Ulaya o. Nyumbani ni nyumbani, nyumbani o, nyumbani o. Home sweet home, even if you are home alone. Home sweet home, home alone, home alone. Canto Lomba Lomba, Romeo Kabwe, and this is Africa Day, special for you.